So, you've been learning how to craft the perfect prompt. You know all about the right words, the right structure, but does it ever feel like something's still missing? It's kind of like a master woodworker. They need a full workshop, not just a good idea. And a true prompt engineer, well, they need the right set of tools to really bring their vision to life, especially at scale. Oh, you know this feeling, right? You spend like an hour in a chat window, tweaking and refining, and you finally get that perfect output. And then you close the tab. And just like that, the magic is gone. Poof, lost to your browser history forever. If you've ever felt that frustration, that's actually a good sign. It means you're ready to level up your toolkit and move beyond the basics. So today, we're going to open up the professional's digital toolbox. We'll talk about why that basic chat box just isn't enough for serious work. Then we're going to walk through 3 essential upgrades for your toolkit. First, mastering the playground for precision. Then automating your work with APIs. And finally, picking the right specialized tools for your specific craft. Let's dive in. Look, those basic chat interfaces, they're fantastic for getting your feet wet. But have you started to hit a wall? Because when it comes to serious, repeatable work, just using chat is really the difference between an apprentice with a single handsaw and a master craftsman with a full workshop. This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the chaos of a basic chat. You can't control key parameters like temperature to dial creativity up or down. And your prompt history? It's a total mess. I remember this one afternoon I was trying to create a persona for a grumpy solicitor named Mr. Abernathy. I had tabs open everywhere, trying to track these tiny little changes. It was maddening. The tool itself was getting in my way. Professional tools, on the right, bring order to that chaos. And the source material just nails it with this analogy. A woodpecker is a master of its craft because it has the right tool for the job. Trying to do professional level work in a basic chat window? Well, that's like asking that woodpecker to drill holes with a finch's beak. It's not going to work. You need a tool that's actually built for the task. So that brings us to the whole point of this explainer, helping you build your professional toolkit. It's time to move on from that one all-purpose handsaw to a full workshop, packed with specialized instruments designed for precision, scale, and, most importantly, repeatable control. And what this all boils down to is that your skill with words is only half the battle. It's the platform you use that truly unlocks your potential. The right tools let you run controlled experiments, save your best work, and ultimately build powerful, automated systems from your prompts. All right, let's get practical. Let's look at the first major upgrade for your toolkit. This is where you graduate from casual chats to controlled experiments by mastering what's called the playground. Just think of a playground as a purpose-built workbench for a prompt engineer. See, unlike a standard chat, it actually exposes the AI's control panel. This lets you tweak all those key parameters like temperature, and here's the best part, save your entire configuration so you never lose that magic formula again. Okay, let me show you how this works with a real-world example. I was stuck on a project that absolutely required the AI to output data in a super strict JSON format. In a normal chat, it kept making these tiny mistakes, a missing comma here, an extra bracket there. But in the playground, I followed this exact recipe. I put the core instructions in the system prompt. I gave it a couple of perfect examples. Then, and this was crucial, I dropped the temperature way down to 0.1 to get rid of any randomness. And every single time I found a setup that worked, I saved it as a preset. It completely transformed a frustrating guessing game into a methodical, scientific process. So, once you've perfected a prompt in the playground, the next level is to put it to work automatically. And this is where APIs, or application programming interfaces, come into play. An API is basically just a way for your own code to talk directly to an AI model. This means you can take that perfect JSON-generating prompt you built and write a script that runs it on thousands of documents overnight, without you even lifting a finger. It's how you go from making one-off cool things to building powerful, scalable systems. For instance, I used this exact approach to help a small conservation group. They were spending an hour every single morning manually summarizing news articles. So we used a playground to build a great summarization prompt, then I wrote a simple Python script using the API. Now, that script automatically grabs the articles, runs our prompt on each one, and emails a perfect digest to the team every morning. It's a real-world workflow that saves them hours every week. It even has error handling for things like API rate limits, a super important detail for any robust automation. Okay, so you've mastered the playground and you're automating with APIs. The final piece of the puzzle on this journey is recognizing that a true craftsman uses specialized tools, gear that's tailor-made for their specific role. So a coder, for example, isn't just going to use a generic playground. They'll use an IDE extension like GitHub Copilot that literally lives inside their code editor and understands the context of their project. Now, if you're a team lead managing prompts for a support chatbot, you're going to need a management platform to version your prompts, run A/B tests, and collaborate with the team. And a digital artist? Well, if they want maximum creative control over image generation, they'll use a local interface like Automatic 1111 to fine-tune every possible parameter. See? Each job has its own specialty gear.
And this brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer.
It's not about finding the one best tool. It's about building your workshop. True expertise in this field isn't just about crafting clever words. It's about knowing when to use a simple chat for a quick idea, when to open up the playground for a controlled experiment, and when to use an API to build something powerful and scalable. You match the tool to the task. Learning to use these powerful tools really elevates your ability from a hobbyist to a professional. But this level of control and automation also brings up some new questions, doesn't it? With the power to generate content at scale, to create photorealistic images, and to automate really complex communication, how do we make sure we're building things that are helpful and fair and responsible? That is a huge question, and it's one we're going to need to tackle next.